Good morning, students. I am Bhupesh Bansal, Director Anand Prakash Educational Academy, your mentor for physics. In the previous lectures of class 10th electricity, we have seen what is electricity, what is the charge, how the charge moves, positive charge, negative charge, and then we have seen the static charge, then jumped on to electric current. We have seen what is electric potential, what is potential difference, and electric current. We have also seen in brief what is Ohm's law. So today let us begin again from Ohm's law. What does Ohm's law state? In a circuit, the current flowing across any two terminals, that is I, is proportional to the potential difference, that is V, across these two terminals. That means I is directly proportional to V. Now, why the current is restricted? That is because of the resistance offered by the material. That is because of the resistance offered by the material. Different materials offer different resistances. So, lesser the resistance, current will be more, and vice versa. That means more the resistance, current will be less. So we can say I is inversely proportional to R, where R is constant. And if we remove this proportionality sign, we can write V is equal to IR. Remember, this is the basic principle of electricity, Ohm's law, on which the total electrical engineering is dependent. If you are going to be a budding engineer tomorrow, and that too in the field of electricity like me, then this is very important for you. You have to remember this formula lifelong. Okay. The unit of V, as we said, is volts. Unit of I is current, is ampere. The unit of resistance is named after the famous scientist Ohm and is written as Ohm. Okay. So, again what we have seen here, the current flowing through a wire or a conductor or a resistance or any other material depends on the value of resistance. If the potential difference remains same. If the material is changed, the current may increase, current may decrease. Now, if the resistance is very low, is almost equivalent to 0, what will happen? It cannot be 0, but it is almost equal to 0, then current will be almost equal to infinity. That means it is a very good conductor. If R is not close to 0, is having some very small value, then it is a conductor or a good conductor. If R is sufficiently high, it is a resistance. If R is enormously high, say almost infinity, then current becomes almost 0, it is an insulator. Earlier we had defined conductor and insulator based on the availability of free electrons. Now, what is the relation of free electrons? Again, let us see. Resistance is offered by those electrons which are available in the outer shell of the atoms. If they are not able to move, then it offers higher resistance. So, it is an insulator. If they are able to move freely, then how freely they are able to move, it makes it either a very good conductor or a resistance. Now again, coming back to Ohm's law, if we set up an experiment, we use a dimmerstat in our circuit, have a resistance This is a voltmeter, this is a ammeter, this is a switch, this is a battery, and we use a variable potential difference source. That means we can vary the voltage. If we close this and record the readings of current and voltage, we see it is a linear graph. This linear graph is nothing but showing the resistance of that particular material. I hope you will be doing this experiment in your classes, in the practical classes. If not, this is only for the information. Now, when we are talking about resistance and we say it's a property of individual materials, resistance depends on a few things. It depends on the length of the conductor or length of the material, area of cross section of the material. Then it also depends on the temperature. That's why while describing the Ohm's law, we say at a given temperature. It's a very important term which you have to remember. It depends on the temperature and nature of material. It is seen R is directly proportional to length. That means if we double the length, resistance also gets doubled. R is inversely proportional to area of cross section. That means if we double the area of cross section, resistance becomes half. Or half the area of cross section, resistance gets doubled. On removing the proportionality sign, we get R is equal to rho L upon A, where rho is a material specific constant. We call it as a specific resistance or of a given material or resistivity of a given material. Now, unit of R is ohm, area is meter square upon meter. So, unit of rho is ohm meter. I have given a few values of specific resistance of copper 1.69 into 10 to the power minus 8 ohm meter, aluminium is 2.63, which we are generally using in our houses for domestic wiring. Nichrome is very high, 110 into 10 to the power minus 8 ohm meter. Generally, it is seen that metals, the resistivity is low compared to alloys. Alloys, that's why we are using alloys for heating purpose. We will come down to it in the future lectures. Rho is nothing but it is dependent on the nature of material at a given temperature. If we increase the temperature very high or decrease the temperature at a very low temperatures, the value of rho changes marginally. Okay, next is the combination of resistances. Now we can combine the resistances. Suppose I have two resistors, I can either put them in series or I can put them in parallel. In both the cases, let us see what happens. I am not drawing the ammeter, voltmeter and the switch. I am just drawing a very simplified circuit diagram. If V is the potential in both the cases, current flowing is I. What is the current flowing through the first resistance? Let me call this as R1 and R2. Current flowing through the first resistance is I only, and through the second resistance also is I. The potential difference here is not the potential difference here, because the potential difference V is across A and C, not A and B. So, if the potential difference across AB is V1 and BC is V2, so V1 plus V2 is equal to V. That means I into R1 plus I into R2 is equal to I into resultant resistance of these two resistances in series. I can remove I as common. So R is equal to R1 plus R2 plus depends upon how many number of resistances are in series. So, how to find the equivalent resistance of resistances connected in series? It is simple summation of all the resistances, and that is the value of the resultant resistance. Coming down to parallel, if this is R1, this is R2, if current flowing is I, what happens here? Some current goes here, some current comes here. So let me call it as I1 and I2. Potential difference V is the potential difference across these 2 points A and B. So I1 R1 is equal to V, I2 R2 is equal to V. If I say equivalent resistance is R, then I R is equal to V. Now what we have seen here is R is, we can say V upon R, as we said I is equal to I1 plus I2. ये करंट जो है दो पार्ट में स्प्लिट हो गया I1 I2 में, so the total current is I, which is equal to I1 plus I2, which is V upon R is equal to V upon R1 plus V upon R2. I remove V is common on both sides, so the formula I get for parallel correction is 1 upon R is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. That means if the resistances are connected in parallel, then the equivalent resistance, how to find out? Yes, the reciprocal of the equivalent resistance is equal to the sum of the reciprocals of all the individual resistances. If I had 5 resistances, 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3, so up to 1 upon R5. Hope this is clear to you today. Next lecture, we'll start with power, energy, commercial units of energy, domestic consumption, and so on. Till we complete this chapter, we'll keep ourselves away from the numericals a bit. And then when we'll start with the numericals, we'll have 1 or 2 video lectures for the numericals. So, keep enjoying, keep watching. I know you have been watching my channel, you have been watching my videos, you have been liking my videos. Keep doing it, keep enjoying it, keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much.